Commander Kale stood on the bridge of the starship Aegis, his eyes scanning the endless darkness beyond the reinforced viewports. Stars glittered like tiny diamonds scattered across black velvet, each one a mystery, each one a world untouched by human hands. Kale had seen countless systems, mapped numerous planets, and yet, the thrill of discovery never faded. He loved the unknown. He thrived in it. But even he could not anticipate the moment that would change everything. "Commander, sensors are picking up an unusual signal on the planet below," Lieutenant Rena called out, her voice calm but tinged with curiosity. Her fingers danced across the holographic controls, bringing up a detailed map of the unexplored world. "It's localized, low energy, but definitely artificial." Kale's brow furrowed. Artificial? That could mean abandoned structures, or worse, someone is already here. He turned to the viewport, eyes narrowing at the blue and green orb spinning slowly below them. Its surface was dotted with jagged mountains and wide plains, some covered in thick forests. The planet seemed peaceful from orbit. Yet Kale knew appearances could be deceiving. "Prepare an away team. I'm going down." The shuttle descended through the planet's atmosphere with the steady hum of its engines. Kale's team, 4 of the finest explorers the Aegis had to offer, watched the terrain change beneath them. Towering mountains gave way to sprawling forests, rivers glinting in the sunlight like silver threads. But something felt different this time. The air seemed charged, almost alive. Kale's instincts told him that whatever they were about to find was unlike anything they had encountered before. As the shuttle touched down on a flat plateau, Kale immediately noticed a figure moving among the trees in the distance. The motion was precise, almost unnatural, yet fluid. Someone who belonged to that world without fear. Kale's pulse quickened. "Everyone stay sharp," he whispered. The figure paused, and for a brief moment, Kale could see a glint of metal, the helmet of a spacesuit, reflecting the sunlight. Whoever this was, they were not from his crew, not human, at least not from Earth, or anywhere Kale had known. And yet, there was something unmistakably familiar about the way they moved, the way they carried themselves. Kale signaled the team forward. They advanced cautiously, rifles lowered but ready, scanning for threats. The figure did not run. They watched, as if studying Kale's group as carefully as they were being studied. Then, without warning, the figure sprinted. Fast. Too fast. Kale felt a pang of surprise. No human could move like that. And yet, as he sprinted after them, he realized that whoever this was, they were not trying to attack, they were trying to lead him somewhere. The chase took them through forests so thick the sunlight barely reached the ground, over jagged rocks, and across streams that glittered under the alien sun. Kale marveled at the agility and grace of the stranger. There was no hesitation, no wasted motion. Every jump, every twist, every movement was perfect. And still, Kale felt an unusual pull, not fear, not aggression, but a curiosity he had never experienced before. Finally, the stranger stopped at the edge of a deep canyon. Kale's team caught up, breathing heavily, hearts pounding from the unexpected sprint. The figure removed their helmet abruptly, tossing it aside. Time seemed to slow for Kale. The face revealed beneath was astonishing. Clear blue eyes, sharp features, and a calm confidence that radiated power and intelligence. She was human, perfectly human, but unlike anyone Kale had ever seen. Kale took a step forward, his mind racing. "Who are you?" he asked, his voice steadier than he felt. The woman Arya smiled faintly. "I could ask you the same," she replied, her voice calm, yet carrying a strength that made Kyle feel both challenged and inspired. "You shouldn't be here." Kale glanced at his team, who had stopped in awe at her presence. Lieutenant Rena whispered, "Commander, she's incredible." "I know," Kale said quietly, his eyes never leaving hers. There was something magnetic about her, something that drew him in, a sense of destiny he could not explain. Arya's expression turned serious. "It's not safe here," she said. "They're still looking for me." "Looking for you? Who?" Kale asked, though part of him already guessed. "The ones who took everything from my people," she said softly, her gaze distant. "I've been hiding for years, and now, I cannot stay hidden anymore." Kyle felt a surge of resolve. He didn't fully understand her story yet, but he knew this. She needed protection, and he would provide it. That determination filled him with a fierce energy he had never felt before. "Then you're coming with us. We can protect you," he said firmly. Arya studied him for a long moment, as if measuring his sincerity. Then, without another word, she nodded. Together, they moved back toward the shuttle, her every motion still precise and controlled, even after running through the forest. Kale couldn't help but notice the contrast between her strength and her calm composure. He felt an admiration he had never allowed himself before, mingled with a strange, unfamiliar longing. Back on the shuttle, Kale sat beside her, silently watching as she secured herself. She didn't speak, but he could feel her thoughts, her caution, her intelligence. "I need to know I can trust you," she finally said, her voice quiet but firm. "You can," Kale replied without hesitation. "I don't let anyone on my ship unless I can trust them, and I trust you." Arya's eyes softened just a fraction, and Kale felt a flicker of relief. They were allies now, but Kale knew this was only the beginning. There were dangers ahead, forces that had chased her across stars and planets, and he would face them all if it meant keeping her safe. As the shuttle lifted off, Kale looked down at the planet fading beneath them. For the first time in years, he felt that same thrill of discovery. But it was personal, almost human. He wasn't exploring for knowledge alone anymore. He was exploring for her, for the woman whose courage and mystery had captured his attention in the instant her helmet fell away. Hours passed in silence. The hum of the engines and the occasional beep of the navigation system were the only sounds. Kale watched Arya study the stars through the viewport, her eyes reflecting constellations and distant suns. He wondered about her past, the battles she had fought, the losses she had endured, and yet, in her silence, there was no despair, only strength, resilience, and a determination that reminded Kale of humanity at its best. "Commander," Arya said suddenly, breaking the quiet. "Why do you care about me?" Kale turned to her, caught off guard. It was not a question he had expected. He searched for the right words. Because you're human. Because you don't just survive. You inspire. And because I've never met anyone like you." Arya considered this, then nodded, as if accepting the truth in his words. There was no blush, no shy reaction, just acknowledgement. Kale realized that she was strong in ways he could barely comprehend. Yet she also allowed him to feel, to hope, to dream of something more than duty and missions. The shuttle approached a neutral space station in orbit above a small, peaceful planet. Kale had arranged for temporary refuge here, away from the empire that pursued her. As the docking clamps engaged, Kale felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. Protecting her would not be easy. The galaxy was vast, and enemies were relentless. But Kale did not hesitate. He would face any danger, challenge any power, and cross any distance to ensure her safety. When the shuttle doors opened, Arya stepped out with calm confidence, scanning the station with precise awareness. Kale followed, side by side, feeling an unspoken connection growing between them. For the first time in his life, he was not alone in the universe, not truly. And he understood, with a clarity that surprised him, that this encounter was no accident. Fate had brought them together, and he would honor it. As they moved through the station's corridors, Kale caught himself stealing glances at her. Each movement, each expression, revealed more about her strength and character. He realized that he would do more than protect her. He would fight for her, stand beside her, and, if necessary, challenge kings and empires just to keep her safe. And in that moment, he knew that nothing in the galaxy would ever feel the same again. The adventure had just begun. The neutral space station hung quietly in orbit around a small, blue-green planet. It was modest by galactic standards, primarily a hub for traders, researchers, and travelers seeking temporary refuge. But to Commander Kale, it felt like a sanctuary. Inside its gleaming corridors, the hum of machinery and the chatter of passing travelers created a rhythm that was almost comforting. Yet, Kale could feel the tension in the air. They were not safe for long. Arya moved beside him, her steps quiet and measured. Though she appeared calm, Kale could sense the vigilance in her posture. Every glance, every pause, every scan of the environment suggested someone accustomed to being hunted. He admired her poise, but he also knew the danger she carried with her. "Kale," she said softly as they reached the small quarters he had secured, "I need to explain something." Kale gestured for her to sit while he reviewed the ship's communication logs on a small terminal. "Take your time," he said. Though he already sensed the weight of her words, Arya removed a small device from her pocket, tapping it lightly. Holographic images flickered to life, showing vast fleets, towering structures, and human faces etched with authority and cruelty. "I am not from any planet, you know," she began. "I was born on Lythra, a world of explorers, scientists, and diplomats. My people valued knowledge, freedom, and cooperation with the galaxy. But one day, the Empire came. They wanted our technology, our knowledge, and our leadership. They betrayed us. They took everything. My family, my friends, all gone." Kale listened intently, a tight knot forming in his chest. He had fought in countless skirmishes, faced alien threats, and navigated political tension between human colonies. But he had never heard a story like this, a civilization destroyed not by nature, but by greed, by power, by fear of what humanity could achieve. "Why are you alone?" he asked, keeping his voice gentle. Arya's eyes flickered with memory and pain. "I escaped. I survived because I had to. But the Empire has not forgotten me. They search for me across star systems, hoping to capture me and claim Lythra's secrets. I wear this helmet to hide my identity, to keep myself safe. Until now, I could avoid detection, but the signal you picked up, it made them aware that someone is near." Kale nodded slowly, understanding the gravity of her situation. "Then we must act carefully. The Empire is powerful, but they underestimate what humans are capable of. You are not just a fugitive. You are proof of what humanity can endure and achieve, and I won't let them take you." Arya's gaze softened for a moment, and Kale felt a flicker of connection that surprised him. She studied him as if weighing his sincerity, and in her eyes, he saw both caution and hope. It was a strange mix of emotions, but it only strengthened his determination. He would protect her, no matter the cost. Over the next few days, Kyle and his crew helped Arya settle into the station. She moved with quiet efficiency, analyzing the environment, learning the layout, and establishing hidden routines. Kale watched her adapt with fascination. Here was a woman who had faced entire empires alone, yet she still approached life with clarity and purpose. He realized that her strength was not only physical but mental, a sharp mind that could see patterns and possibilities others missed. Late one evening, Kale found Arya in the observation deck, gazing at the stars. The station's artificial lighting cast soft shadows, but it did not hide the intensity in her eyes. "You think too much," Kale said quietly as he approached, sitting beside her. Arya glanced at him, eyebrows slightly raised. "And you think too little," she replied. "You rush into action before considering all outcomes. It is both a strength and a flaw." Kale chuckled, shaking his head. "I suppose I need balance. And maybe that's why we make a good team." She looked back out at the stars, her voice soft. "I've been alone for so long. I forgot what it felt like to trust someone." Kale hesitated, unsure how to respond. Then he placed a hand gently on hers. "You can trust me. I will not let anyone harm you." For a moment, Arya did not move. Then she nodded, a small but meaningful gesture. Kale felt a sense of relief and a rising determination. He was not just protecting a life. He was safeguarding a symbol of humanity's courage and ingenuity. The quiet moments were shattered the next day when the station's sensors detected multiple incoming vessels. Kale's heart tightened. He had hoped for more time, But the Empire had found them faster than expected. He quickly gathered his team and Arya in the command center, reviewing the data. "They're not small reconnaissance ships," Lieutenant Rena said, her voice calm but alert. "These are strike vessels, fully armed, fully prepared. Whoever is piloting them knows exactly where we are." Kale's jaw set. "Then we must prepare. Arya, can you move quickly? Can you handle yourself in a confined environment?" Arya's eyes flashed with determination. "I survived entire armies. I can handle whatever comes through that airlock." The crew moved swiftly, locking down the station, initiating defensive protocols, and preparing for a possible boarding. Kale assigned positions, coordinating sensors and shields. Yet, in the midst of strategy, his mind kept returning to Arya. She was not just someone to protect, she was a reminder of what humans could accomplish when united by purpose and courage. As alarms blared and red lights bathed the corridors, the first wave of Imperial forces attempted to breach the station. Kale and his team engaged them with precision. Each move was calculated, each tactic designed to protect Arya and the innocent crew aboard the station. Arya herself moved with a skill and agility that left Kale in awe. She disarmed, evaded, and outsmarted every opponent, turning her survival instincts into a force that inspired everyone around her. In the chaos, Kale realized something remarkable. Arya did not just survive. She led. Even in the heat of danger, she made decisions that saved lives, guiding others with calm authority. Kale felt a swell of pride and admiration. Humanity, he thought, had achieved wonders, but here was a person embodying all its best qualities: courage, intelligence, resilience, and heart. Finally, the Imperial boarding force retreated, unable to overcome the combined strategy and determination of Kale, his crew, and Arya. The station, though shaken, remained intact. Kale took a deep breath, feeling the weight of relief and victory. He looked at Arya, who was catching her breath, and for the first time, he allowed himself to see her not only as a warrior, but as someone he genuinely cared about. "You were incredible," he said quietly. "I don't think I've ever seen anyone move like that." Arya's lips curved into a faint smile. "I told you I survived armies, but you made it possible for me to fight, not just survive." Kale nodded, feeling the truth of her words. In that moment, he understood something profound. Arya was more than a survivor or a fugitive. She was a beacon of hope, a living testament to humanity's ability to endure and overcome. Protecting her was no longer just a mission, it was a responsibility, a privilege, and, in some quiet way, an honor. As the station settled back into quiet operations, Kale and Arya stood together on the observation deck once more. Stars stretched endlessly in every direction, each one a reminder of the vast universe and the challenges yet to come. "I don't know how far the Empire will go," Arya said softly, "but I do know one thing. We can outthink them. We can survive. And maybe, we can even change the balance of power." Kale placed a hand on the railing beside hers. "We will. Together. No matter what it takes." For the first time since he met her, Kale felt the galaxy shift, not in power or politics, but in possibility. With Arya beside him, he realized that humanity was not just a species of survival. Humanity was courage, ingenuity, and heart, and he would do everything in his power to ensure that this spark, embodied in Arya, would never be extinguished. As the night wore on, Kale and Arya remained there, side by side, watching the distant stars. The danger was far from over, but the bond they had formed, the trust they had built, and the shared understanding of what was at stake created a connection stronger than any weapon. They were partners now, not just in survival, but in the fight for humanity's future. The Empire would come. Challenges would rise. Yet Kale knew this. As long as he stood beside her, as long as humanity's courage remained alive in both of them, they could face anything. And in that quiet, starlit moment, Kale felt a truth he could not ignore. He would follow her across stars, challenge the mightiest powers, and endure every danger the galaxy held, for the woman whose helmet had once hidden her face but never her strength. The stars stretched endlessly before the Aegis, dark and silent, yet filled with unspoken danger. Commander Kale stood on the bridge, his eyes scanning the distant horizons. Though the space station had offered temporary safety, it was clear now. The Empire would not allow Arya to remain hidden. They would pursue her relentlessly across the galaxy. Kale's crew moved efficiently around the bridge, preparing the ship for a sudden jump to the next system. Lieutenant Rena's fingers flew across the control panel, pulling up star charts and sensor data. Commander, multiple Imperial vessels are in transit toward our last location. They'll be here within standard warp time, if we don't move now. Kale's jaw tightened. Set a course for the nearby uncharted system, he commanded. We'll stay ahead of them, but we can't just run blindly. Prepare countermeasures. We need to be ready for anything. Arya stood beside him, calm yet focused, watching the navigation panels. I know how they think, she said quietly. They follow patterns, predictable strategies. If we act unpredictably, we can evade them for now. Kale nodded, impressed. Then let's make them chase shadows. The Aegis leaped into warp, stars stretching into lines of light, leaving the pursuing vessels far behind for the moment. The ship emerged in a cluster of uncharted planets, their surfaces wild and untamed. Kale and Arya scanned the first planet, a jungle-covered world with rivers like silver ribbons and mountains hidden in mist. It was beautiful, dangerous, and, most importantly, uninhabited. This will do for now, Kale said. We can rest, refuel, and plan our next move. Arya stepped onto the surface, moving effortlessly through the thick undergrowth. Kale followed, impressed by her ease in navigating unfamiliar terrain. You adapt so quickly, he said, falling into step beside her. It is necessary, she replied. If you want to survive, you must move faster, think smarter, and see possibilities others miss. As they explored, Kale observed more than her skill. He watched her intuition in action, the way she anticipated dangers, noticed subtle changes in the environment, and made decisions that kept them safe. It was a reminder that humanity, even in one person, could embody courage, intelligence, and resilience in ways that surpass the most advanced machines or the strictest empires. They set up a temporary camp near a sparkling river. Kale maintained a perimeter scan while Arya prepared a small energy shield generator hidden among the trees. They worked together with seamless efficiency, a partnership that required no explanation, just mutual understanding. Suddenly, Arya froze. Her eyes scanned the jungle. Kale followed her gaze but saw nothing at first. Then, a subtle shimmer in the air revealed cloaked surveillance drones. Watching from a distance, Imperial technology. The Empire had found them faster than Kale had anticipated. They're close, Arya whispered. We need to move. Now, Kale nodded. Prepare the ship for immediate departure. We'll use the planet as a decoy. They moved quickly, dismantling parts of their camp to leave false traces of their presence. Arya guided Kale through hidden paths, avoiding natural hazards and leaving behind false trails. Kale marveled at her ingenuity. She turned every obstacle into a shield, every danger into a weapon against their pursuers. When they returned to the Aegis, the Empire's drones had begun scanning the planet. Kale initiated evasive maneuvers, weaving through asteroid belts and navigating unstable space currents. The enemy vessels followed, relentless and determined, confident in their numerical advantage. Arya joined Kale on the bridge, her eyes focused. We need to split them. Draw half of their forces away while we escape. Use the natural hazards of the system asteroid fields, solar flares. Make them think they have control. Then turn it against them. Kale grinned. I knew there was a reason I brought you along. Together, they executed a daring plan. The Aegis darted through asteroid fields at impossible speeds, weaving around massive space rocks, while Imperial ships struggled to keep pace. Arya calculated trajectories, Kale piloted the ship with precision, and the crew executed maneuvers that would have been impossible for ordinary humans. Yet, Somehow, their combination of human ingenuity and courage made the impossible achievable. The Empire's forces began to break formation, falling into traps set by Kale and Arya. Smaller vessels collided with asteroids, or were forced into evasive maneuvers that slowed them down. The strategy worked, giving the Aegis enough time to jump to the next system undetected. Once safely in open space, Kale allowed himself a brief sigh of relief. "We did it," he said, though he knew the battle was far from over. Arya smiled faintly, though her eyes remained sharp. "For now. They will adapt, and they will continue to hunt us. But this proves one thing. Humanity's strength is not measured in numbers or weapons. It is measured in courage, intelligence, and the refusal to bow to oppression." Kale felt a surge of pride and admiration. She spoke not just of herself, but of the potential of all humans, of what they could achieve when they refused to surrender to fear or tyranny. He realized again why he was drawn to her, why he had vowed to protect her. She was not just a companion. She was a living symbol of humanity's indomitable spirit. As they traveled, Arya shared more about her people, Lythera, and the empire that had destroyed them. Kale listened intently, amazed by the depth of her knowledge and the clarity of her vision. She spoke of diplomacy, of exploration, of technologies designed to improve life across worlds. And yet, she also spoke of betrayal, loss, and exile. "I was trained to survive," Arya said, "but I was also trained to lead, to inspire, to create solutions where others see only obstacles. The Empire underestimated that. They still do." Kale nodded. "And that is why we will win, eventually. Not because we are stronger, but because we are smarter, faster, and willing to endure anything to protect what is right." For hours, they planned, navigated, and prepared for the next encounter. Arya's guidance turned every challenge into an opportunity. Kale felt the full weight of admiration for her skills and for her character. She was not only brilliant but fearless, compassionate, and unwavering in her principles. That night, Kale and Arya stood on the observation deck once again, looking out at a nebula swirling with vibrant colors. It was a reminder of the vastness of space, of how small, yet significant their actions were. Kale placed a hand lightly on the railing beside hers. "You know," he said quietly, "I never thought I'd find someone like you out here. Someone who can challenge not just enemies but entire systems, with courage and intelligence. You inspire me." Arya looked at him, a faint smile on her lips. "Then we are alike," she said softly. "We both fight, not just to survive, but to prove that humanity can rise above fear and oppression, that we can achieve more than anyone expects." Kale felt a deep sense of connection, a bond that went beyond words. He understood that their partnership was not only about survival, it was about hope, inspiration, and the enduring strength of humanity. Together, they could face empires, overcome impossible odds, and emerge victorious. As the Aegis glided silently through the nebula, Kale and Arya continued their vigil. They knew the Empire would not stop, that danger lurked in every system, and that challenges would only grow greater. Yet, they also knew that as long as they relied on each other, trusted their instincts, and honored the human spirit that bound them, they could endure anything. Kale glanced at Arya, her eyes reflecting distant stars, and felt a determination like never before. He would protect her, stand beside her, and face every obstacle the galaxy sent their way. Humanity, in both of them, would not bow. They would endure. They would rise. And the Empire would learn that the courage and ingenuity of humans were forces that no machine, no fleet, and no tyrant could suppress. For the first time, Kale truly understood what it meant to fight for something greater than duty, greater than loyalty, and greater than survival itself. He fought for humanity, for hope, for the future, and most of all, he fought for her. Arya, the woman whose strength and brilliance had captured his heart the moment her helmet fell away. And in that knowledge, Kale felt unstoppable. The Aegis drifted silently near the edge of the Empire's heart world. A massive planet, encased in sprawling cities and towering fortresses. From orbit, it gleamed like a jewel. Beautiful, powerful, and dangerous. Commander Kael stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the world below. This was the place Arya had once called home, the heart of the empire that had betrayed her people, and this was where they would strike. Kael's crew moved with tense efficiency, preparing the ship for a mission unlike any they had attempted before. "We're taking a huge risk," Lieutenant Rena said quietly, standing beside Kael. "If they detect us, we're outnumbered 100 to 1. Kael shook his head. "We're not here to fight their entire fleet. We're here to challenge their strategy. To show them that intelligence, courage, and humanity can overcome numbers. That is what Arya represents. And that is why we fight." Arya stepped forward, her eyes bright with focus. "I've studied their patterns for years," she said. "I know their command structures, their patrol schedules, their defenses. If we act smartly, we can bypass most of their forces, create chaos, and show the galaxy that even the mightiest powers cannot crush the will of humans who refuse to yield." Kael looked at her, admiration and determination swelling in his chest. "Then we do this together," he said firmly. "Every move, every decision, every risk, we face it side by side." The plan was bold. Using the Aegis's advanced stealth systems, they would infiltrate the planet's orbital defenses, deploy a series of diversionary drones to simulate multiple attack vectors, and land on the surface in a remote sector where Arya could lead them to critical control centers. Every step depended on precision, timing, and courage. As the ship glided into the outer defense perimeter, alarms suddenly flared across the bridge. "They've detected us," shouted a junior officer. Red warning lights painted the interior, but Kael kept calm. "Activate the drones," Kael commanded. "We'll split their forces. Focus on evasion, not confrontation. Arya, guide us through their blind spots." Arya's hands flew over her portable console, calculating trajectories and predicting enemy responses. "Left flank, 5 degrees up, then dive through the asteroid belt," she directed. Kael followed her instructions perfectly, weaving the ship through tight spaces and natural hazards. The diversion worked. Imperial ships scrambled in confusion, attacking phantom signals while the Aegis slipped quietly into the outer city orbit. They landed on the planet's surface in a dense forest near the outskirts of a towering citadel. Kael, Arya, and the away team exited the ship silently, moving through shadows and thick foliage. Each step was calculated, every movement careful. Yet, Kael could feel Arya's confidence radiating like a beacon. She was not just surviving, she was leading, inspiring, and showing what humans could achieve even in the face of impossible odds. The forest soon gave way to the lower levels of the citadel. Kael followed Arya, marveling at her understanding of the terrain. She guided them past patrols, security checkpoints, and automated defenses, always moving with a grace and efficiency that left him in awe. "This way," Arya whispered, pointing to a maintenance hatch that would take them inside the heart of the citadel. "From here, we reach their central control nodes. Disabling them will cause confusion, slow their response, and show them that humans do not yield to fear or tyranny." Kael nodded. "Let's do it." Inside the citadel, the team moved like shadows, avoiding guards and security systems. Arya led with precision, showing knowledge of systems Kael could barely comprehend. They reached the central node, a vast room filled with glowing consoles and energy panels. Arya quickly interfaced with the systems, her fingers flying over controls, hacking security protocols, and rerouting power to create controlled disruptions across the city. Outside, alarms blared as security forces scrambled to respond to the chaos. Kael watched from the node as Arya's plan unfolded perfectly. Drones deployed, doors locked, surveillance cameras blinded. Imperial forces moved in confusion, unable to coordinate effectively. Every move Kael and Arya made highlighted the ingenuity and courage of humans when faced with overwhelming power. Suddenly, a powerful voice echoed through the citadel. "Intruders, seal the sector. Do not let them escape." Kale and Arya exchanged a glance. The Empire had realized the attack, but they were not afraid. Together, they coordinated their team, moving through corridors and stairwells, disabling defenses, and using the enemy's own systems against them. In one narrow hallway, Kale faced a patrol of armored guards. With precise timing and careful maneuvers, he and his team incapacitated them without unnecessary violence. Arya's strategies guided them, showing that human ingenuity could overcome brute force with intelligence and courage. As they approached the central command chamber, Arya paused. Beyond this door is the leadership core. This is where decisions are made, where the Empire orchestrates its power. If we can disrupt it, we can send a message to the galaxy. Humanity will not be controlled, subdued, or silenced. Kale placed a hand on the door panel. Then let's show them what we're capable of. They entered the chamber, moving swiftly to disable communication links and control panels. Imperial leaders were present, stunned by the audacity of a small team challenging their might. Kale and Arya worked in perfect unison, anticipating every response, countering every move. The room erupted in activity, alarms blaring, lights flashing, yet they remained calm, focused, and unstoppable. Arya turned to Kale, her eyes shining. "We've done it," she said. "Now we just need to exit before they regain control." Kale nodded. "We'll get out together." They retraced their steps, moving through corridors now in disarray. Imperial forces were organized, but the confusion created by Arya's interventions allowed them to slip past. As they reached the forest near their ship, Kale took a moment to glance back at the citadel. Chaos reigned within, but the message was clear. Even the mightiest powers could be challenged by humans who refused to surrender. Boarding the Aegis, the team prepared for departure. Kale and Arya stood side by side on the bridge, watching the planet shrink in the viewport. "You were amazing," Kale said quietly. "Not just in battle, but in leadership. You inspired everyone, including me." Arya smiled faintly, her eyes reflecting the stars. "I did what I had to. And you stood by me, trusted me, and acted with courage. That is what humanity is capable of. Unity, bravery, and intelligence. Together, we can face any empire." Kale felt a swell of pride and determination. The Empire had power, technology, and numbers, but they lacked the one thing that Kale and Arya had: unwavering courage, ingenuity, and the human spirit. He realized again why he was willing to face kings and empires for her. She was not just someone to protect. She was a symbol of what humanity could achieve when it refused to bow to fear or oppression. As the Aegis left orbit and entered open space, Kale allowed himself a rare moment of reflection. They had succeeded against impossible odds. Not with sheer force, but with intelligence, courage, and determination. Arya had proven, in every action and decision, that humans could overcome even the most powerful adversaries through skill, unity, and heart. Arya stepped beside him, gazing out at the distant stars. "This is only the beginning," she said softly. "The Empire will recover, and they will come after us again. But now, they know that we are not just survivors. We are humans who will fight for what is right, who will endure, and who will inspire others to do the same." Kale placed a hand on the railing beside hers, feeling the bond between them strengthen. "Then we fight together. No matter the odds, no matter the enemies, we stand side by side. Humanity will rise, and we will prove that courage and intelligence are stronger than any empire." For the first time, Kale felt an unshakable certainty. With Arya by his side, he could face any challenge, confront any enemy, and endure every danger. Humanity, embodied in both of them, was unstoppable. They were not just two individuals, they were a force, a symbol, and a promise that no power in the galaxy could suppress the human spirit. And as the Aegis moved toward the next system, Kale knew one truth above all. The galaxy would never forget the moment humans chose to stand, to challenge, and to rise. Together, they would face the final trials. Together, they would redefine what it meant to be human, and together, they would ensure that the light of courage, ingenuity, and hope shone brighter than any empire's shadow. The galaxy stretched before the Aegis, endless stars twinkling like distant promises. Commander Kale stood on the bridge, his hands resting lightly on the railing, eyes fixed on the enormous planet ahead. This was the heart of the Empire, the central command world, the seat of power that had destroyed Arya's people and chased her across countless systems. Today, they would face it. Today, they would fight, not just for survival, but for humanity itself. Arya stood beside him, calm and focused, her eyes reflecting determination. "They know we are coming," she said softly, "but they do not know what humans are capable of. They think power alone is enough." "They are wrong," Kale nodded. "Then let's show them. Not with fear or anger, but with courage, ingenuity, and the will to protect what is right. Humanity will rise today, Arya. And we rise together." The Aegis slipped through the outer defenses of the planet, using Arya's knowledge of the Empire's systems to avoid detection. Drones deployed, alarms triggered false threats, and the Empire's attention was divided. Kale piloted the ship with precision, weaving through orbital defense grids that would have destroyed any ordinary vessel. Every maneuver relied on trust. Trust in Arya's instincts, in the crew's skills, and in humanity's determination to endure. Finally, they landed on the planet's surface in a remote valley hidden by natural formations. From there, they would infiltrate the command complex and disrupt the Empire's central systems. Arya led the team, moving silently through the shadows, every step calculated and deliberate. Kale followed, feeling the full weight of responsibility not just for their lives, but for the countless lives that could be affected by their actions. As they approached the command complex, guards and automated defenses patrolled the area. Kale and Arya split the team, each taking a different path to neutralize obstacles. Arya's movements were graceful and precise, disabling security systems and avoiding confrontation whenever possible. Kale marveled at her intelligence and courage. She was not just a survivor, she was a force, a symbol of humanity's potential. In the central chamber, the Empire's leaders were gathered, confident in their control. But Kale and Arya did not hesitate. Using coordinated strategy, they infiltrated the chamber, taking control of the central consoles and communication systems. The room erupted in alarms, lights flashing, as the Empire scrambled to respond. Yet Kale and Arya remained calm, working together with unspoken understanding. "You cannot stop what is coming," Arya said, her voice steady, projecting authority. "The galaxy will see that humanity cannot be crushed. We endure, we rise, and we fight for what is right." Kale activated the control panels, redirecting energy flows, disabling weapons systems, and creating controlled disruptions throughout the planet's defense grids. Imperial officers tried to regain control, but every move Kale and Arya made anticipated their actions, turning the Empire's own systems against them. It was not brute force that defeated them, it was intelligence, courage, and the human spirit working in perfect harmony. Outside the command complex, the Empire's forces struggled to respond to the chaos. Drones collided, vehicles stalled, and communication lines went dark. Confusion spread across the planet as Arya's strategies unfolded, revealing the limits of the Empire's power against humans who refused to surrender. In a final confrontation, the Empire's highest leader entered the chamber, his presence commanding, his authority absolute. He faced Kale and Arya, expecting fear or submission. Instead, he found determination, courage, and unwavering resolve. "You think you can challenge me?" he demanded. Kale stepped forward. "Not think. No. We are not alone. Humanity will not bow. We endure. We rise. And today, we prove it." Arya moved beside him. Your power is not greater than courage. Your numbers cannot surpass intelligence. Your fear cannot break spirit. The galaxy will see that humans, when united and determined, can overcome anything. The leader faltered, realizing that the strength he had relied on, fear, oppression, and brute power, was meaningless against the combination of courage, skill, and ingenuity that humans embodied. Kale and Arya's actions were not just tactical victories, they were symbols, proof of humanity's resilience and brilliance. As systems across the planet failed, Imperial forces began to surrender, disoriented and overwhelmed by the strategic genius of Kale and Arya. The command world, once a symbol of absolute control, now stood as a testament to what humans could achieve when they refused to accept injustice. Kale turned to Arya, pride and admiration shining in his eyes. "We did it," he said softly. "Together, we did it." Arya smiled faintly, her gaze returning to the stars. "This is just the beginning. The galaxy will remember this day not because of destruction, but because of courage, ingenuity, and hope. Humanity will rise, Kale. And we will continue to inspire others to do the same." Kale placed a hand on her shoulder, feeling the bond that had grown stronger with every challenge. "I would follow you to the ends of the galaxy, Arya. I would challenge kings, empires, and stars themselves just to stand beside you. Today proves that together, nothing can stop us." She met his gaze, a quiet acknowledgement passing between them. "And I would trust you to do the same. Not because of fear, but because of faith in humanity, in courage, and in each other." The Aegis lifted off the planet as the Empire's remaining forces scrambled, but their power had been broken. The galaxy had witnessed something extraordinary. Humans, not as pawns of fear or oppression, but as beings of intelligence, courage, and heart, capable of challenging even the mightiest powers. Kale and Arya stood side by side on the bridge, looking at the stars stretching endlessly before them. The battle was over, but the journey continued. They had proven that humanity was more than survival. It was hope, inspiration, and the ability to rise against impossible odds. "Where do we go now?" Kale asked, his hand brushing lightly against hers. "Wherever the galaxy needs hope," Arya replied. "Wherever humans need to see that courage, intelligence, and determination can overcome even the greatest powers." Kale smiled, feeling the weight of their victory and the promise of the future. "Then we face it together. Nothing will stop us. Humanity will endure. Humanity will rise." The stars outside stretched into infinity, a reminder of endless possibilities. Kale realized that this was not just their victory, it was a symbol for all of humanity. Every action, every decision, every challenge had proved that humans, when united by courage and guided by intelligence, could rise above fear, oppression, and even the most powerful empires. As the Aegis soared through the galaxy, Kale looked at Arya and felt a truth he could not deny. He would follow her to the ends of the universe, challenge any power, and endure every danger for her. She was not just a companion, not just a symbol, she was hope made real. Humanity in its finest form. Arya met his gaze, her eyes bright with determination and trust. "And we will continue," she said softly. "For humanity, for hope, and for every soul that believes in the power to rise." Together, they faced the stars, knowing that no empire, no obstacle, and no shadow could extinguish the courage, ingenuity, and spirit that burned brightly within them. The galaxy was vast, but they were prepared, humans united by purpose, fearless and unyielding. Kale reached for her hand, and she took it. A silent promise passing between them. Not just a promise of protection, but a promise of partnership, of courage, and of enduring hope. The galaxy would remember this day. The galaxy would remember humanity. And together, Kale and Arya would ensure that humanity's light shone brighter than any darkness the universe could send. They rose above the stars, not as fugitives, not as survivors, but as champions of hope, courage, and the unbreakable human spirit. For the first time in the galaxy's history, Even the greatest powers knew this truth. Humans would endure, humans would rise, and humans would never be defeated.